Hi everybody, today we are going to change the oil, engine oil, and the lower unit gear oil on my 20 horsepower 4-stroke Tohatsu outboard. I already went through and cracked open the engine drain and the gear fill and gear drain plugs, and I came over here and put a filter wrench on this and got that started. It was pretty tight. It crushed the filter a little bit to break it free, just to try to make this video smooth and not any longer than it has to be. So if you're doing this and it's not as easy, it's because I already did some of the hard work off camera. So what you're gonna need is over here for the oil drain, you're gonna need a 16 millimeter socket or wrench. You're gonna need engine oil. I have 10W40 here. I think you can use 10W30 or 40 depending on what temperatures you're running in. Here is a Tohatsu oil filter. You can pause it if you need that. It's the same for 9.9 to 60 horsepower 4 strokes for Tohatsu. And you're going to need gear lube, which I don't remember the specs for this motor, but I know that I can use this. So if you want to use something else, just check your book. I have a pair of pliers because I needed extra leverage on the screwdriver to get those gear oil screws open. A funnel always helps. And like I already showed you guys, the oil filter wrench is already on the oil filter. So we're gonna get started with this. I already have this drain loosened, so I don't have to do any hard work, and I have the motor tilted up and tilted slightly to the side, so hopefully it doesn't drip too much down the motor. This motor has between 10 and 20 hours on it. It's got its break-in done. So this is just the oil change for after the break-in period. We're gonna let that drain. Get an old sock here to clean this off, and that oil looks good. Like I said, it doesn't have very many hours on it. Just doing the break-in. So once that's all drained, we will drain the gear oil while we finish up here. And once most of it's drained, I'm going to lower the motor and see if I can get more oil out. I've never done this before, so if I'm doing something wrong, please tell me. But I read the owner's manual and am doing the best I can with it. So might not be exactly right, but we're doing the best we can. Switch our lever so we can drop the motor in a minute. Now this is probably going to run all over the place when we do that, but that's okay. There's some more oil. Probably should turn it, or we can just do that. We'll clean up all the oil later, all the rest of it. So maybe I should have just done that from the beginning, I don't know, but I was trying not to make a mess. But this is what we got. So far, we're not really making too much of a mess, so that's good. Well, that's draining. I guess we can, well, maybe we'll wait. I don't know if we want to get too many things going at once here. In my owner's manual, it didn't say to change the oil filter. In the manual, it just said drain the oil and refill the oil. But I've got a oil filter, so it's got to be changed. I could have missed it, but I read it quite a few times. Oh, I guess I should show you guys. Come here. Up here, I just took the oil fill cap out. And that's where we'll fill the oil. The dipstick's up here to check the oil. Oil filter's over here. We're going to take off in a minute. bring it back over here. Still letting it drain. Maybe we'll lift it up again, see if more oil comes out. Got oil dripping everywhere. I don't really know if this is helping. I'm probably just making this harder than it has to be, but that wouldn't be the first time I've done that. Put it back down. So that's pretty good. We'll put the oil plug back in. I think they said to tighten it, I think like 18 foot-pounds. We'll just make it snug. Snug enough we don't have to worry about it. That seems good. So now we will drain the lower unit oil, the gear oil, while we're working on the rest of this, because I want to give it enough time to drain. Get our screwdriver. That's gonna be right here is the drain. Try not to be in your guys' way so you can see. This won't come out fast at first because it's like a vacuum in there with the top screw. So there's a little bit. I don't have a gasket on there unless it's still in the hole. I don't see it. I think they're supposed to have a gasket on this screw. I have some, so I can add one. But it doesn't appear to have one. This one has one. Not on the screw, but in the hole. There's one. I can't really tell. So we may add gaskets to those screws because I can't see. So we'll let that drain. I'm pretty sure these screws are supposed to have gaskets on them. And I can't tell. That might be a gasket in that hole there. And I can't see well enough underneath yet. But we'll look at it a little closer in a minute. We'll let that drain. I'll bring you guys over here. Alright, the lower unit oil is still draining. We're going to come over here and get this filter off, which will probably drip a little bit of oil. Try not to hurt anything under here. There we go. Like I said, I broke this free already off camera. It was pretty tight enough to crush the filter as I was getting it off. So let me just get a old sock here to try to clean up some of this old oil, and we'll get this off. It's nice that there's not a ton of room here to work, but I've certainly had to work in worse, tighter areas. There's not really that much oil left in the filter, which is nice. Didn't really make hardly any mess here, which is shocking. Usually when you take off these filters, there's just a mess everywhere. So we're just cleaning off where that filter sits. The ring came off with the oil filter. So that's all good. Make sure we don't have any stuff there. Now I have a new filter here that I put oil on the seal so it doesn't get stuck to the motor, and I actually filled it with oil and swirled it around in there like this, so hopefully not too much will spill. We'll just get that in there, and if there was extra and I thought it was really gonna spill, I would just dump it out before I did this because I don't want to make a mess in here and have oil leaking. So just make sure it's threaded on the right way. We're gonna snug it up just a little, nothing crazy. I just don't feel like I can get it very tight with my hands alone because they're kind of slippery. So just put the wrench on it and get it just a little snug. There we go. You can see really well that it's seated well there. That's tight enough. Pull that off. flip that out of there. Clean up some of our little mess here. So that wasn't bad at all. Right now we are gonna fill it up with oil, which it says the capacity is like half a quart, but I feel like I read somewhere else that it's more than that. So this is 1 quart, not quite 1 quart because I already used some out of it, but we're gonna do like half this and check it. Whee! There we go. So I feel like I added more when I initially put the oil in it because they don't ship them with oil in it. I should do. And I feel like we drained more than half a quart of oil out, but I didn't measure it, so I could be wrong. See where we're at. So we're gonna figure this out. We're just gonna keep checking the oil level. Come over here to the dipstick. Clean it off. Put it in. Not even on the dipstick yet. I thought when I filled this initially, I put like a little over a quart in. But I looked at the manual twice and it says that it's like half a quart. Unless I'm looking in the wrong spot. But we're gonna fill it until it's on the high end of the dipstick because that oil filter is gonna take a little bit of oil. And then we're just gonna keep checking it for the next few times we run it to see if it's at the right level. Clean this back off. Put it in. Take it out. Nothing yet. Back over here. And more oil. Hold this. I think this helps break the suction as you're pouring in the oil. Could be wrong. Could have totally made that up. Try that amount. Still nothing on the dipstick yet. We're gonna add what's left of this. Check the dipstick again. Take it out. Clean it off. There's a fuzzy. Put it in. Take it out. Oh, we got it right on the low end. So we're getting there. I'm gonna have to go get some more oil. So now that we're on the dipstick, we're gonna go even slower with the oil. We'll just do a slosh here. Check. Alright, so we're just above the low mark right now. And I would like it right at the high mark because I'm pretty sure the level will drop a little once the motor runs and fills that oil filter with oil. So another slosh here. Let it drain all the way down. Take this out. Clean it off. Put it in. Take it out. All right, we are just below the high mark, so we're gonna add just a touch more. And like I said, I'll continue to check this before I run it until the level stops fluctuating. Save that house where we gotta be. All right, so that's right at the high mark. It's right here. So I think that's good. I think I'm gonna go take it out just for a little run later today, and I'll check the level when I get back to see where we're at. So the oil part, the engine oil part is done. We can take our filter out, or not our filter, our funnel out. Just throw it somewhere right here. And we'll put the fill cap back on. So that part is done. We're done with the engine oil. And I would say that took probably about like a quart of oil, roughly. All right, there's gonna be a little bit going on here at once. So I checked, and this thing here is like rubbery, and I can't easily get it out, but it seems like it's in good shape, so I'm not gonna mess with it. So my screws do not have a gasket, but I'm assuming the gasket is just stuck in there. So at some point I may have to pry them out, but right now it should not be a problem. So turn this way because I think it'll be easier. So I'm gonna stick this pouch hole spout thing in there and fill it. You fill it from the bottom up, and then put the screw in, and then take this out and put the screw in there. Shouldn't be too bad, but we will see. So we're just gonna keep squeezing until it comes out the top. So I think it's gonna take about half of this. And then I'm gonna have to get the screw in without letting this go, so it doesn't all drain back out. Once the top screws in, we should be good. Oh, there it goes. Oh, goodness, we broke the suction here. There, we got the suction back in there. So we're gonna squeeze again until it comes out the top, because we just lost some out the bottom. There it goes. So I think we'll just squeeze a little as we put the screw in. Just gotta make sure it's not cross-threaded. There we go. It's not too bad. A lot of that oil that's dripping is just stuff that, Alright, so now we're going to take this out, put this screw in, which this one's kind of at an angle, which makes it a little harder. Oh, the gasket came off, but that's okay. It didn't come off, it just started to move. Alright, so that wasn't awful. I mean, I got oil everywhere. But, where's my sock of cleanliness? Hold on. I have a pair of old jeans that'll work. We'll snug those screws up and clean up this oil. So that wasn't, I mean, I wouldn't say that was perfect, but that wasn't bad. It was pretty quick. And as I threaded the screw in, I saw that gasket actually freed up from in there, so that does come out, and that's where my gasket is for these screws. They're just in the hole, but they're in good shape, so I'm not too worried about them. Just trying to get all the oil that's all around here cleaned up, and we'll just snug these screws. They're supposed to be at like 3 foot-pounds, which is not much, but I certainly wouldn't want them coming free if they got, you know, hit by something under the water. So let's snug them up the best we can. Got that one a little tighter. You don't want to mess up the screws, because then you're gonna have to replace them. If I had a sock, I have a sock, an old sock somewhere, that would get more of this oil cleaned up. But these jeans are a little thick, but it's not leaking, it's just the extra. So that was supposed to take about half of that, this bag, and I really don't know how much it took, because you guys saw it broke free there for a second and poured oil back out. This is a quart. I think there's probably a third left. It probably did take half, like it was supposed to. So we will check that level again as well later on. All you have to do is just crack the top screw and make sure it's full. So that wasn't awful, and that wasn't bad at all. So now we're gonna grease it. Let's try to clean up a little bit here. Clean this up a little. Put a cap back on it. Oh, and you have to cut the tip of these off, just so you know, to get them to go. It should just snap on. Perfect. So we're done with this mess. Alright everybody, I'm just going to show you where I greased. I greased this grease point here, which put grease down here and up there. Where the motor lifts, I put a layer of grease. There was no grease point. There was just, you know, just where the motor part, the motor mount is, like up in here, up there, that sort of stuff. That's all greased. I put grease up here. There's a grease point there by the where you'd select the gear. I used my finger to put grease here. This is for the throttle. So I did that. I greased these, which greases the lifting points here. And where else did we grease? I think that might have been everything. Oh, we put grease here too, where the throttle runs here. And I think that's all that I could find to grease. Actually, there's these little balls on the throttle here that I think we'll put a little tiny bit of grease on and work it in there. Other than that, there shows more grease points in the manual, but that's all I could find. I just tried to find where there was grease. The only thing it said is to take the propeller off and grease that. Like put a layer of grease on where it sits, but I will do that at a later date. I don't feel like doing that. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope this helps. Have a great day.